So, in the cluster of today, Nolan Bushnell was up for an award at the GDC, and apparently, Brianna Wu, of course, next to Anita Sarkeesian, she's the most cancerous thing in video games right now, came up and said that he doesn't deserve it. He apparently had some story about 40 plus years ago that he tried to, well, let's just put this in a good context here for a second. This was in the 70s, mind you, the 70s, next to the 80s as the most insane party decade of existence, probably. Now, Nolan Bushnell and how he ran Atari is legendary. The stuff of legends. The stories that people can tell of how Atari was run in the late 70s and early 80s is legendary. All you have to do is watch the E.T. Atari documentary that was made, I think, back in like 2012 or 2013. The guy who they were interviewing went to the bathroom when he was taking a tour of the place after he was hired. And a guy walked in wearing underwear and nothing else. He walks out and was like, "Who's that guy? Why is he wearing nothing but underwear?" And the guy who was giving him the tour, was like, "Oh, I can't remember his name, Kevin. He doesn't like clothes, it's all good." I mean, the place was basically a 24/7 frat party. The stories, that come out of that place are insane. It was basically a company that made video games and partied for a job. You basically partied. So, I think it was something like every time Atari it was every time they made money, every quarter, business quarter of course, Nolan Bushnell would throw a kegger. This gives you a proper frame of reference of how Atari was run back in the 70s, okay? So, the big story that came out was Nolan Bushnell was up for an award, a Lifetime Achievement Award from I think it was the GDC. And Brianna Wu came out and said he can't get this award during all the Me Too stuff. And apparently the story she tried to pin him with, and it worked, was Nolan Bushnell was having a board meeting in his hot tub, which is, again, this is awesome. But they called up some secretary. I don't know if he had a phone call or if she was bringing up some papers. And Nolan Bushnell invited her into the hot tub. And she must have just said no. That's it. Beginning. End. That's literally what Brianna Wu is pinning on him. Just the fact that this can even stick, and the GDC caved in record fashion because, there's a Nolan Twitter hashtag going on Twitter, and our community wants us to say no. We cannot give this award to Nolan Bushnell now, even though he's the godfather of video games. So, my problem is this. Brianna Wu, it so happens, is looking for a Senate seat in, I do believe, these upcoming elections this year. And Brianna Wu, like I said, is probably the single most cancerous thing in gaming nowadays, next to Anita Sarkeesian. And she is literally just pushing this to make herself look good. And to further her own gain, to further her own career, if you put that in big quotes, mind you, she doesn't care if Nolan Bushnell is harmed by this. Of course, Nolan Bushnell put out a statement saying that he's sorry if whatever he did offended anyone. You can't really blame the guy. I'm sure everyone wants him to say middle fingers aloft to Brianna Wu, get bent, you don't know half of it. And God, I wish he did. It would make my month. But Brianna Wu is just trying to use video games to further herself. She doesn't give two shits about gamers or Nolan Bushnell, the legend that he is. She probably barely even knows who the guy is. She's just trying to make herself look good, and she doesn't care who she harms in the process. All the politicizing in video games is just getting out of hand. Stuff with Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu. The fact that these people even have platforms still in 2018 is just it's a shame. There's no other way to put it. It's just the politicizing of video games and everything, honestly, being politicized is complete crap. The Me Too movement, if you want to call it that, started out as something good. It brought down Harvey Weinstein. That guy is a monster. He should be locked up and have his dick cut off for all of I care. But it's turned into a witch hunt. It's to the point where if someone is accused of sexual assault, it's worse than murder at this point. And the fact that you can accuse someone in the court of public opinion drags them down in pure record time. Just nobody cares to wait for the evidence. Nobody cares to see if what someone actually did was bad. If they even did it at all. Like Nolan Bushnell. Everyone knows how Atari was ran in the late 70s, early 80s. Everyone knows that it was basically a 24/7 frat party. It's been documented in books, movies, everything. It's just how things were in the 70s. And Atari was maybe to the extreme side of that a little bit, with basically being a party 24/7, but it's just how things were in the 70s. It's not out of place. Sure, it would be out of place nowadays. You can run a company like that. It would be awesome if you could, don't get me wrong. I'd apply in a heartbeat. That would be awesome. Freaking party, basically get paid to party. Good God, who wouldn't want to do that? But, I mean, what's out of place today was probably at least somewhat normal in the 70s, in the 80s. I mean, good God, the 80s, outside of amazing music, the morals in the 80s and the 70s were maybe a bit questionable. So, what was normal then should not be a problem now. Why Nolan Bushnell isn't getting this award is just stupid. The entire situation is just stupid. It shouldn't happen. Brianna Wu is a raging bitch if there ever was one. All she's doing is politicizing video games to further her own career. She has no video game quote-unquote cred. She worked on a mobile game that I had never heard of before today. That's it. She's literally done nothing for gamers. All she wants to do is to further her own political career. And for that, Brianna Wu, we raise middle fingers. Nolan Bushnell, you did nothing wrong. Go on, be the legend that you are. Thanks for watching.